Welcome to the kitchen. I'm Bono.
And this is Blinky.
Today we're going to be cooking a Nintendo Entertainment System. We're in the kitchen. You're going to need a few things before we get started. We'll need a pot. We'll need a screwdriver. We'll need some isopropyl alcohol, Q-tips, and some tongs. Ready? Let's go. First step is we get the water boiling.
Why do we have to boil the water, Bono?
Well, I guess you have to watch the video to find out. Now that the water's boiling, we're going to start dismantling this Nintendo Entertainment System. First thing, flip it over. You'll notice 6 holes. Each of those holes has a screw in it. We're going to remove those screws. You'll have to use a Phillips head screwdriver. There we go. Just going to dump the screws out without losing them.
Like these?
Okay, now that the top's off, we'll set that aside. Now we'll start removing this heat shield. Okay, once that's off, you can remove it aside. We're now going to have to remove this component here. And a couple of these screws do appear to be different, so we'll set those aside separately. These 2 screws are longer. Okay, now we'll slide this out. Okay, set that aside. And now we have access to this pin connector. I'll take out a couple more screws just so I can get better access to remove that pin connector. This is the part we want access to. Okay, now that this is loose, we'll be able to slide this pin connector off of the circuit board.
Very carefully.
Okay, now that this is loose, we'll set this aside, wait for our water to boil. I'm going to be a little thorough and remove this back heat shield as well. So as you can see, it just kind of comes off, and then I have to slide it around those cables. I suppose you could disconnect those wires, but I'm just not going to bother. Okay, and that'll give me access to this contact section here, and we're going to clean all that. But in the meantime, I do hear water boiling, so let's head over to the stovetop. Right, we're back at the stovetop. Our water is boiling just in time, and to answer the question at the beginning of the video, what we're going to do with the boiling water is drop this pin connector in there. And Blinky, if you would mind setting the timer for 8 minutes, we'll let it boil for about 8 minutes. Alright, so now that we're waiting for our pin connector to boil, we're going to spend some time cleaning these pins. So I grabbed a box of Q-tips and some isopropyl alcohol, and we're just gonna clean both sides of the circuit board, those pin connectors specifically. So we want to make sure that we have good contact on all sections so that basically the pin connector that we're boiling connects here on the circuit board, and we want to make sure that that connection is good. As you can see, my Q-tip is already getting quite black, and that's just over time it kind of, you have this buildup of oxidation or something like that. So we just want to thoroughly clean it, and so as your Q-tip gets dirty, grab it fresh and just keep on doing it. You want to keep on doing it until your Q-tips stop turning black. And it could take quite a number of passes. If your connection is really bad, you can try a little bit of sandpaper. I like to use 1000 grit. As you can see, it might take a little while. It's probably never been cleaned in 41 years. So it's probably going to work quite well. I see no issues, and I'm just generally glancing at the circuit board. I think it has just suffered from time. Okay, our time is going. We're going to remove the pin connector from the boiling water. We're going to set it on a dry place. We'll let it dry.
Some paper towel.
And we'll just set it there, let it dry. We'll turn this off. Okay, we're going to flip it over to the other side. That one was quite dirty. As you can see, we have a stack of darkened Q-tips. And we're going to start the other side. There's one spot here I'm a little bit concerned about. We'll see if we can clean it. I'm not sure if it's been worn through or if that's just something we need to take off the top. We'll try cleaning around there.
It's very dark.
We'll also try a little bit of sandpaper. There's a dark spot right there, and I'm going to just lightly, very lightly, see if it's on the surface or if the contact has worn through. I think I'm going to leave it for now. We'll keep on cleaning, and ultimately we'll see if it works once we got everything hooked up. Alright, now that our pin connector is dried and we've cleaned both sides of this circuit board, we're going to reinsert the pin connector.
Carefully.
And there will be a bit of resistance, especially since boiling it may have caused the springs to go back to their original state, meaning they're a little bit stronger. Alright, now that that's in, we'll start reinserting the screws. You can ensure that these gray parts are where they need to be, and also the black ones. When you're putting this piece back on, you have to slide it in like that. And at the front, I'll just show you real quick, there's a lip right there, and that part has to go underneath the circuit board. So you kind of got to get it, just something to be aware of when you're putting it back together. Slide that in and then push it forward just slightly. Lift up your circuit board just enough just to set it down, and then you can slide it all the way back. Once your holes are lined up, you know you're in the right spot, and once it's down all the way in the front, you know you're good to go. The other thing to pay attention to is these longer silver looking screws. Those go in, just a reminder, those go in that hole. Now we'll just continue putting screws in, quite a few screws. Once it's all back together, we'll give it a quick test. Okay, one more detail here. Just pay attention to which screws go in after you put the heat shield back in. So we got 2 here, 2 at the back, and 2 on the side. Before putting back the heat shield, I like to just test that the action is good here. Okay, we're good to go. We'll put the heat shield in. Make sure it's all flat, and those little gray connectors should poke through. And we'll put in the rest of the screws. We should be left with 6 to put the cover back on. Alright, we're going to put this cover back on. So we put the top on, and then we hold it, squeeze it together, flip it over.
You should have 6 screws to go in the 6 holes.
Yeah. So you'll just have to drop them in basically, and tighten it down. Not sure if you can see all the little bits and pieces that came off of the pin connector during our boiling process. We're going to let the NES dry for a little bit, and in the meantime we're going to clean some of the games that came with it. So it's going to start with just getting off some of this grunge from the cartridge. I'm just starting with a wipe and try to get off some of the obvious stuff. What's interesting about this one, I don't know if you can see it, but it actually has a quality assurance stamp. I don't think I've ever seen that on a cartridge. A lot of these games have different backs. Alright, so we're going to grab our security screwdriver. This one is a 3-screw cartridge, so it uses the security screws. I'm just going to open it up, and we're going to treat the connections like we did the 72-pin connector. Ooh, this one is actually in really good condition. As you can see, those pins look pretty unused. I will do a quick little clean just to be sure, and this one has a battery, so hopefully this one works. We'll have to check it out. Looks to be an authentic cartridge. Gonna grab some Q-tips just like we did with the console itself. Grab some Q-tips and some 99% isopropyl alcohol. Here in Canada, you can get this at your Shoppers Drug Mart. Just going to give this a clean, even though it looks really good. So you can see some of that, there's a little bit of grunge, some of it's coming off. Okay, should be good to go. It only fits back in the cartridge one way. That's the way it goes. When you're putting this back in, just slide the top in like so. Let it sit. When it's sitting nicely, then you just screw these down. Let that dry for a few minutes, and then we'll test everything out.
And this is all of our used Q-tips.
Okay, now for the moment of truth. We got our original Nintendo here, and we got the one that we just bought right here, really cleaned, cooked in the kitchen. We're going to throw in our game that we just cleaned, and see if it works.
Let's get to it.
Looks like it's all good. Seems to be working.
So right now we're playing the game.